Pull up a chair, crack open a beer. It's time for the crime news with Shefsky. I'm John Shefsky, and here are your ad reads. Guys, go support our sponsors. Sometimes when a person dies and you want to make a painting out of them, you call D. Lars, hit the snare. Wouldn't it be cool if Metallica made hip-hop? Guys, go to apiecethatremains.com, get some art from D. It's going to be badass. We guarantee it. Or D will give you all your money back, and she'll give you $10 million in a post-dated check for if you ever have to return anything. That's better than Amazon, I'll tell you that much. And speaking of Amazon, you guys want $25 to Amazon? Well, then get a policy from Joe Erle at C3 Risk and Insurance Services. Call C3 Risk, get insurance. You have to have insurance for something. There's no way, you can't be a human being these days and not have insurance for something. So get it from Joe. This episode of CRiiiME News has got so much good stuff. We got the cruise ship deaths and disappearances of honeymooners. We got that story. We got the D.C. mayor vetoes a bill decriminalizing fare evasion on Metro. Ooh, things are getting metrosexual. We got the star DEA agent that stole millions in drug money. Whoa, what else is new? Am I right, folks? And we got a Philadelphia man allegedly killed with a single punch. So today's episode's going to be very interesting. Stick around and check it all out. Also, guys, tomorrow, February 7th, I am releasing Fantasy House to the public on iTunes. February 7th, guys. 7 episodes on February 7th. Go subscribe. Subscribe. You can subscribe right now, actually. That's what I was going to say. So pause CRiiiME News right now and click the subscribe button for the Fantasy House podcast. Oh, baby. I know you're going to love it. It's a podcast where every week my guests walk us through their fantasy house, their amazing, trippy fantasy house. It's basically a combo of MTV Cribs and Adventure Time. I know you're going to love it. Our first guest is Joel Jimenez, who you guys have heard on CRiiiME a bunch. He did the CRiiiME logo. He did the theme song for Fantasy House. He's on Kill Tony. He's an amazing riffer. His house is amazing. I know you guys are going to love it. So go download, subscribe to Fantasy House right now. Let us get started. In the words of the great Angelo Bowers, let us do this. Our first story tonight on the CRiiiME News, cruise ship deaths and disappearances. A honeymooner vanishes overboard and other mysteries. This is from Jeff Truesdell. Oh, the photo of this couple. The first thing you'll notice is this chick is way too hot for this guy. So he's either rich, or he makes her feel comfortable, or her dad wasn't very hot, and he just reminds her of her dad. A fatal vacation for mom of 3. Some passengers on Alaska-bound Princess cruise ship. Oh my God. When I was a kid, went on a princess cruise to Alaska. So I could have been this woman. That's how close I am to, I could have been murdered. This is so scary. Some passengers on Alaska-bound Princess Cruises ship the night of July 25th could hear a woman screaming on board, though they initially thought she was just having really great sex. All right, I added that part. I got a little too ahead of myself. Though they initially thought it was part of a murder mystery-themed trivia game. Oh my God, is this a real-life Clue thing where someone actually gets murdered during the game? Then, a witness found Christy Manzares, a 39-year-old mom of 3, left dead on the floor in her cabin with a head wound with blood spread throughout the room. Oh, my God. Dear Lord, talk about a bad time on the cruise ship, right? Rough seas. She would not stop laughing at me, the Utah woman's bloody husband, Kenneth Manzares, allegedly told the witnesses, according to an affidavit for his arrest. The cruise line called the incident a domestic dispute. Christy's family has since publicly mourned her as the light of our lives, a devoted mother, daughter, sister, and friend. Quickly charged with his wife's murder, Kenneth, 39, allegedly told the FBI, quote, "My life is over." His attorney has declined to comment to People. He has not entered a plea. What the hell? What the hell is going? That's the story? And his excuse was she wouldn't stop laughing at him? I mean, I'm a comedian. I want people to never stop laughing at me. Come on. This guy would do horrible on stage. Sir, you're killing. That's right, I'm killing all of these people. They won't stop laughing. I'm going to kill them. I mean, I don't know. Listen, my wife's driven me to the point of calling her a bitch or telling her, I love telling her she's an asshole because it's such a thing you tell guys. Like, you're supposed to yell at a guy and be like, you fucking asshole. But I've told my wife before, like, you're such a fucking asshole. I mean, and I felt guilty about that for a week. This guy killed his wife because she wouldn't stop laughing at him. All right, little dick fella. What a puss. You ended someone's life. You ruined your life and you ruined your kid's life. I don't know. I've never been mad at someone enough to kill them. So, I can understand that somebody must feel that way, and I empathize. But dear Lord, sir, take an anger management class or whatever. We'll take it in prison, I guess, right? Our next story. Woman goes missing from cruise with ex-husband. Former attorney Lonnie Cacontes, not Lonnie Cacontes, Lonnie Cacontes, was divorced from Mickey Kanesaki, 52, but the two traveled together on a 2006 cruise from which she disappeared. Former attorney. Do you ever notice how many attorneys are involved in crimes? It's so interesting. You rarely hear of like the Amazon delivery guy being involved in that many crimes, but attorneys are always involved in crimes. I get my information from Breaking Bad, so I'm not basing that on reality. Her strangled body then turned up in Italian waters, with Cacontes already back in the U.S. with a woman he later married. Oh, wow. Talk about your cliche murder your wife and then marry someone else stories, right? Gosh, Caconte. Only thing original about you is your last name, Caconte. In 2013, prosecutors charged him with Kanesaki's murder, arguing he acted to gain control of more than $1 million from her assets. In a twist, Cacontes was later charged with allegedly trying to have the subsequent and now ex-wife killed after she gave grand jury testimony against him. That happens in so many crime stories. You guys notice that? We've done so many stories. Slayton has written stories about people that have done this, where it's like they just go on murdering partners. It's like, how do you do that? Why don't you just break up? Oh, no, I need the insurance money, so I'm going to murder them. Are they insured by C3 Risk and Insurance Services? That's a whole different question. He's awaiting trial on all charges and has pleaded not guilty. Oh, but if you look at a picture of this guy, he has a unibrow, huge sideburns, and the smirk of a murderer. So this guy killed him. Oh, that's a picture of a different guy. That's from our next story. Sorry. The last guy is staring off into the ether with the face of someone who knows he just got caught for murder. So this guy is definitely a murderer. We don't need a trial. Judge Shefsky, the gavel, click, 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 guilty, guilty, guilty. I'm just joking, guys. Don't send this episode of Crime News to the prosecutor and be like, Shefsky said so. You've got to electrocute this guy. I believe in due process. Our next story. A cruise engineer who kills, and we're not talking about on stage. That part I added at the end. An ongoing, sometimes model 31-year-old Julie Scully met Giorgio Sciodopoulos, a Greek murderer, as I can already tell, while on a Caribbean cruise with her husband in 1997. The Greek-born engineer on the luxury liner on which she had just been sailing, he later pursued her with calls that preyed on her neediness. After Scully left her husband, Sciodopoulos visited her in Mansfield, New Jersey, and then she flew to Greece to live with him, temporarily leaving behind her daughter with her ex. But Scully soon expressed regret in a jealous rage during a January 1999 quarrel. Sciodopoulos told police he strangled her, then burned and beheaded her body. My God. Yeah. Wow. He was convicted and sentenced to life in prison, a penalty that was reduced to appeal to 23 years. Why would they reduce that? What about a guy who cuts someone up and burns them up after he strangles them? Makes you think, yeah, I think he'll be ready for society in just 2 decades. Just 2 decades. I think he might need 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 decades, and then we can have a meeting. But 2 decades is not enough to be like, no, he's cool. He went from murderer to just a guy that, is all reformed and ready to work at the Homeboy restaurant making tortilla chips. I don't know about that. But, if he was maybe less of a violent crime dude, I'd be like, oh, dude, we could reform this dude. Well, it's cool. But he cut the lady's body up. Come on, folks. Come on. Let's keep him in jail for just a couple more days. Our next story, teacher strangles wife, then confesses. Robert John McGill drank heavily in Mexico's Cabo San Lucas on his 55th birthday while on a 5-day carnival cruise with his wife and childhood sweetheart, Shirley. He was so intoxicated, according to his attorneys, that he wasn't sure what drove him to strangle her in the ship cabin on July 14th, 2009. That's what he said. He's like, I was so drunk, dude. I don't even know what drove me to strangle her when it really comes down to it. After he changed clothes, went up on deck of the ship, smoked a cigar. Then when another couple asked about his wife, he told them he killed her, according to court records. Wow, that is a weird way to confess. I would not be stoked if I had just met someone for the first time and was like, hey, dude, don't you have a wife that we met yesterday when we were at the midnight buffet on this cruise? When we were at the pizzeria stuffing ourselves with low-quality, all-you-can-eat pizza, weren't you hanging out with your significant other? And he goes, takes a puff of his cigar, goes, yeah, she won't be coming to the midnight buffet. I killed her. I'll be like, okie dokie, as me and my wife slowly, what do you call it when you walk backwards away from someone? You're like, okay, I guess I'm going to go down to the theater and see the cruise ship comedy show to try to lighten things up a little bit. The teacher of at-risk teens was sentenced in September 2011. Wow, this is a teacher of at-risk teens. That's like, because, I don't know, you'd think a teacher that was working around at-risk teens would be like, not a murderer? I guess you'd think anyone would not be a murderer. What the hell am I saying? Do I even know what's up? For a guy that does a crime podcast, what the fuck do I know about crime? The teacher of at-risk teens was sentenced in September 2011 to life in prison after pleading guilty to second-degree murder. Whatever decency, this is a quote, whatever decency Mr. McGill had left on the floor of that bathroom next to Shirley's beaten, bleeding, and broken body, one prosecutor said in 2011. Well, these are dark stories. My God. Our next story, a baby left to die by her mother. Wow. This is what I'll leave you with. Jesus H. Criminy Christies. Alicia Keir was 20 years old in October 2011 and had only recently learned that she was pregnant when she joined friends on a Carnival Dream cruise to St. Martin in the Caribbean. But after an unexpected episode of cramping, Keir admitted giving birth alone in a stateroom, never calling for help, then wrapping the baby girl in a towel and placing the child under the bed, where a cleaning crew later found the body. A doctor determined the infant had been born alive without defects or diseases, and Keir faces 8 years after pleading guilty to involuntary manslaughter. She was sentenced to 1 day and given credit for time served. I should have gotten help, she said in the court on May 2015. Wow. Not enough info for me to really say what the hell I think was going on there, but wow. My God. These stories will leave you depressed. I apologize if they're terrifying for you. You're welcome if you like these kind of things, this crazy negativity. If this is what gets you excited, you're welcome. And I'm going to keep doing them for you because I want you to be happy. I want you to have a good time. I want you to enjoy your trippy, weird crime stories. Dear Lord. Our next story, Honeymooner goes overboard, accident, or foul play. On his July 2005 honeymoon cruise, George Smith V, 26 of Greenwich, Connecticut, went overboard into the Mediterranean as his Royal Caribbean ship traveled from Greece to Turkey. Smith's family, citing accounts of other men with him in his cabin and the sounds of arguing before a thud was heard between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. When Smith's wife returned to her room after a night where they had both been drinking, she said she believed he was murdered. The FBI investigated for 10 years before telling the family they couldn't prove his death was a homicide and not an accident, a decision that outraged and disgusted Smith's relatives. His body was never found. Wow. This is why you don't go on cruises. And this podcast is not sponsored by Carnival and probably never will be. But I think we could get like a sponsor for like other vacation, what's the competing industries for cruises, right? Like Greyhound bus, or how about just taking an airplane and just like, staying in a hotel like a normal healthy person when you travel? Why do you got to take a big old fucking giant boat with a million other fucking weirdos? If you're really rich, I mean, you hire a crew and you get like a private boat, but otherwise just take the money you're going to spend on the cruise and just, Airbnb it, right? No seasickness. No one can throw you overboard at the, Holiday Inn in Modesto unless it's like 8 stories tall. But there's not even enough water unless there's a moat around it, which if you have a motel in Modesto, regulations definitely do encourage moats. Our next story, husband accused of murder after wife vanishes without a trace. At the end of an 11-day Mediterranean cruise with his wife, Yi Ling He had had just about enough hummus and enough from his wife, Danielle Belling. After their 2 young kids disembarked on February 20th, they had to do this on Black History Month? Shame on you. From the MSC Magnifica in the Italian port of Civitavecchia, I got to ask Sandro Yocolano how to pronounce that one. But Lee, 36, was nowhere to be found. Her cell phone, I guess Lee is the woman. Okay. Lee, her cell phone, credit cards, and wallet remained behind. Belling allegedly said she had left the vacation early, and she had done before. But as she had done before. His wife leaves vacations early? Well, that should be a sign that you're going to get murdered eventually. My husband's company is so bad, I'm leaving vacations early. Well, honey, you better get a divorce and marry someone that doesn't have violent conflict resolution on their mind. Am I right, folks? Am I right? But Italian authorities had other questions and arrested the Dublin-based German-born IT consultant at an airport in Rome. Okay? They arrested him in Rome as he prepared to travel to Ireland. He remains jailed in Italy and charged with Lee's murder while authorities continue to investigate. Though his lawyer, Belling, has denied involvement and maintained that he believes his wife is still alive somewhere. He wants to go look for her. He wants to hunt her down like they do in those weird Italian movies. There was a really good Italian movie I saw once. Was it like Vanished or Vanishing or The Vanishing or Missing or whatever? It was about a dude's fiance that goes missing. Folks, these stories are extremely depressing. They're dark. They're scary. They're sad. You know what I like to do after I watch a horror movie, or I don't even watch horror movies, after I read something depressing or hear something depressing or something sad happens in life, you know what I like to do? I like to hear something uplifting and funny and happy times. That's why I recommend that you go and you subscribe to Fantasy House right now and listen to the first episode with Joel Jimenez, and then listen to the second episode with Jamie Rice from Murderish. If you listen to crime, I'm sure you listen to Murderish. If you listen to Murderish, I'm sure you listen to crime. It's a crossover situation. You got to hear it. Jamie is a sweetheart. The episode is so good. Her house is badass. There's a puppy petting zoo. I'll let you know that much. Go download it right now, guys. I hope you have a great day. I hope you're having a great Black History Month. Be silly and have fun. Shefsky, out. Mwah.